Honorable Finance Minister to please address the gathering.
Good evening, and I'll start with an apology. The flight landed late. I tried rushing myself to get a bit fresh and then come down. In any case, you've been made to wait, so apologies for that. Divya's right. This is my first public address post taking charge as Finance Minister again in the third term of Prime Minister Modi. I also checked up with Divya to know if the audience is of Tamil and non-Tamil speakers or only Tamil speakers. She told me, no, it's mixed audience. But there can be temptations for me to get back to talking a few things in Tamil. Pardon me, I'll try to translate it. Come to Tamil Nadu and not utter a word in Tamil will not be done. So, actually, we are standing here, not just me, the government, after having been elected for the third term consecutively. I want to underline the fact that it is absolutely critical from the point of view of stability and continuity. Now, policies which are made with a lot of consultation, policies which come out of stakeholders giving their inputs, are made after a lot of effort, and in that, having worked closely, I can say, the Prime Minister literally labors to know what the views on the ground are. So policies are never made in a hurry. Policies are never made with the confidence that we know it all, never. Whether it is policies related to women, whether it is policies related to, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, or the poor. In fact, you would have noticed from before the election campaign, there was a context to it also. That today, if in India, you're looking at wanting to reach a good stage of being developed as a country by 2047, it's all right for us to say, oh, that's a political, sloganeering, Vikasit Bharat. No, don't all of us want to see this country better off? Don't all of us want to see this country much, much better than what we've seen during our childhoods? So it is an aspiration for all Indians to want to see India developed, by a certain milestone, and keeping 2047, that is 100 years after we obtained independence from imperial rule. It's not too ambitious to say by that time, let us work to have an India which is built with our sweat and toil, and reach such a level that all of us can be proud that during our lifetime we built an India which the next generation will feel proud to be part of. And therefore, Vikasit Bharat is not a political sloganeering, it is aspirational benchmark for all of us Indians, and in that, particularly women, we have a very big role to play. Now, when I say this, it is not washing my hands off saying, government says all women will have to contribute to this. During this, Divya tells me 30 minutes, but I'll try to finish it earlier so that you can have an interaction as well. The topic that you've given yourself, women rising, has been completely enabled by Prime Minister Modi during his 10 years term, and that is why during the G20 conference, where you had participation of the top 20 countries, if there were 2 or 3 aspects on which India was praised, India was further asked questions about, can you tell us how this is working or how you achieved it? There are 3 big things on which G20 invoked interest in India. One was the way in which we scaled up digital public infrastructure. Public spending money, infrastructure for digitization of the country being completely invested by the government, but it wasn't kept as if only government can use it. It was left open for anyone to use it. So medical services, banking services, and education to start with benefited. Now it is spawning so many different activities that people in advanced countries themselves are not able to believe, because the impression about India is particularly women, particularly rural areas, they wouldn't be in a position to adapt to digitalization, and therefore you won't be successful. We disproved it well before COVID. But during COVID, using that kind of a digital technology to be able to tell which citizen got which vaccine, was he once vaccinated or twice vaccinated, was like a digital passport given to a person, so that his movement becomes a lot more methodical, not a scrap of paper which can be suspect sometimes. So your digitalization was one of the things on which there was a great deal of appreciation. The second thing was the way in which Indian economy was moving, and despite COVID, that is, the recovery was all across the board. MSMEs were doing very well. Economy, whether it is agriculture, which is labor intensive, and labor underemployed in agriculture, despite that agriculture was doing very well. So there was this great sense of, oh, something is happening in India. But the third one, which I'm purposely putting as third, was the topmost element on which there was a lot of curiosity, and that is women-led development. As different from women-centric development or women-prioritized development, it was women-led. And therefore, because of topic being women rising, I want to say 9 different aspects I put before you. I wouldn't go into too much of detail in the statistics that I have. I will certainly like to have Divya and her team take that paper, I can pass it on to you all, to know the various elements in which women have had prominence given, both through legislative support and fiscal support. And this is not exclusive to only urban women, it is rural women, urban women, educated women, half or partly educated women, skilled women, not skilled women. Everybody has had a role, and for which continuous methodical approach to give them that push has happened. It's not a fluke, it's not by stroke of luck. It is that effort which happened since 2014 in every aspect. So I've clubbed my thoughts into 9 different silos. I'll put it before you because you're women who are going to have very strong influence in building India towards a 2047, where we, our neighbors, our children, our grandchildren, all of them can see a better India, and that is where you're going to be influencers, catalysts, and doers yourselves. So I'll look at 9 different aspects, and continuously we have this thing about demographic dividend. Everybody talks about it. Oh, India should maximize its demographic dividend. You have young people who are in productive age who can do so well. I want to say women's dividend that we have, in the sense half of our population gives us a gender dividend, which I think we need to emphasize and make it as a point in policy making. So not just the population dividend, not the demographic larger dividend, in that the gender dividend is something which I like to highlight. But 9 different ways in which how the government has targeted women and allowed them to rise. The first thing is about removing barriers for social development. Broadly, I'm not getting into every aspect of it. I'll flag it, you'll know where I'm trying to go. See, there are various barriers which affect women since the time the child is born. And Tamil Nadu at one point in time had high female infanticide and feticide. And there were all these schemes, you know, the cradle scheme, total, during Kumari Jayalalitha's time. She made sure that she laid in hospitals or some common centers, cradles so that the female feticide can be stopped. So was the case with very many states, inclusive of Haryana, where the gender ratio was very, very adverse to women. So the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Karikram, which we started, save the girl and then educate the girl. It was not again a slogan. I'll give you a few points to highlight. So how do you bachao the girl? You need to have healthy, sanitation approved environment in which the child can grow. Not everywhere do you have taps in the houses. Nowadays we do it as a scheme. Not everywhere Swachhata is a big thing. PM took it up as a big abhiyan. But I'll just highlight how that has helped girl children, women to have better health. 12 crore tap connections were given under the Jal Jeevan mission. 12 crore. Then 12 crore household toilets were built. Women no longer had to go searching into the fields early morning or late in the evening after darkness sets under the Swachh Bharat mission. 10 crore or more free LPG gas cylinders to start with were given and then subsidized per cylinder under the Ujjwala scheme. So you're not sitting in a smoke-filled kitchen, you're better off. 75% of the houses under PM Awas Yojana are either singly or jointly owned by women. So you're slowly increasing their capacity to own assets and therefore have a voice in the family. Now, health and welfare, look at the work which has been achieved. Nearly 17 crore plus, totally it's about half of the Ayushman Bharat cards belong to women. Half of Ayushman Bharat card belongs to women means the woman can go and treat herself up to 5 lakh rupees a year for any ailment without having to pay cash, without having to prove her identity through paper. It is paperless, it's cashless. So 17 crore plus women are beneficiaries of Ayushman Bharat. You also know that these the medical stores which have been started where branded medicines are not sold, generic medicines are sold. And these have become centers where you can get affordable medicines. Through such Jan Aushadhi Kendras, you are selling sanitary pad for 1 rupee a pad so that the poorest of poor women can afford hygienic living. 3 crore pregnant women get PM Matru Vandana Yojana's financial assistance before the delivery of the child and after the delivery of the child. Now, if this is generally indicative of women's health, Beti Bachao Karikram, I'm just moving to see how women can have a role in seeking justice, go to the court, fight a case. In that aspect, what have we done? Women in judiciary, just see the numbers. There are 2 women judges in the Supreme Court of India, and as of 25th July 2024, 106 women judges are working in various high courts. Madras High Court has 11 women judges out of 62 judges. So the presence of women in dispensing justice is also being encouraged. Now, what about women in police? Ministry of Home Affairs has written to all the states or issued an advisory in general to say increase the representation of women police and increase it to the level of 33% of all policemen that you have. So total strength is 100, you need at least 33 women police. And that is to have, in other words, not at the higher levels, only IPS women are there, so no. You should have 3 women sub-inspectors and 10 women police constables in each police station. That is the advisory sent by the Home Ministry. 3 women sub-inspectors and 10 women police constables in each police station. Then, percentage of women in police force has risen. In 2013, it was only 5.87%, whereas now, when I say now, I'm giving you a slightly dated data, 2022, it rose to 11.75% women's presence in police. But what does that actually mean? It didn't impress me at all when I saw the other number, which is per million population, you have 1,538 police personnel. But for per million population, we have only 170 women police personnel. Not adequate at all. So there's more work to do. But there are enablers which are now provided. Home Ministry is following it up, telling the states to increase recruitment of women and so on. So women police station, are there many? I know there was a time again in Tamil Nadu. We were, I think in Tamil Nadu, the first among many states to have women police station exclusively. Whether that was a successful experiment or not is a different story. But women police station. Women police station have increased from 518 in 2014 January to 745 in 2022. So there is an effort, there is a nudge, there is a push, there is this request to the states because law and order comes under the state's subject. They need to recruit more women, they need to have more women. Now, I think in Tamil Nadu, I said 518 in 2014, 745 in 2022. Here in Tamil Nadu, you have 202 women police stations. So there are states which are pushing on this. Then there are 14,658 women help desks all over the country. So do we get a hang of justice for women? Yeah, they're all present, women's judges are present, women police is available in the ground. But fast tracking of justice for women, that very process is a very tiring process. It is a very, very cumbersome process, but even in that, under Prime Minister Modi, you see rapid changes happening. Fast track courts are very important, particularly because they are meant to deal with heinous crime. So really heinous attacks on women, violent crimes against women will have to go through the fast track court. So as of 31st May 2024, 866 fast track courts are functional and they are trying serious crimes against women, children and also senior citizens. To fast track criminal cases involving women, central government approved a scheme for setting up such fast track courts in an expeditious manner, and in that POXO cases also, serious crimes against children and women are also being taken up. There are 410 exclusive e-POSCO courts which are functional and they are expected to deliver justice sooner. Till today, 253,000 cases have been disposed of. So they are serving a cause. They are serving a purpose. There are some states which are not speedily setting up fast track courts, but they are a very good catalyst in providing justice for women. We need to encourage that. There are also one-stop centers. I'm not sure the numbers are before me, but I need to know how they function. 816 one-stop centers have been approved in 36 states. I think, but the big thing about this is you need to have a lot more awareness among women to go and approach these courts, seek justice through them. But that awareness is not as much as we would desire. So as a result, broadly, you have the gender ratio or the sex ratio at birth improved. Today, it is 930 per 1,000 male, still not at par, but it was 918 in 2014. Maternal mortality rate has reduced from 130 lakh live births, which was in 2014-15, to 97 lakh births in 2018-20. It has come down fairly significantly. And of course, the girls' education data, which comes from school, also is very healthy. The other important silo which I want to refer to you is about the financial independence of women. On that, through Jan Dhan Yojana, which Honorable Prime Minister launched in 2014, only a couple of days ago, we celebrated the 10 years of a major scheme. Again, I'll go back to remembering G20. People were impressed that a scheme like this could make women and individuals who had no financial inclusion significantly till then have all been covered. Now 53 crore accounts have come under Jan Dhan Yojana. 53 crores. Now under Jan Dhan, I said 53 crore accounts in 10 years. In that, 55% are of women's accounts. So financial inclusion for women. And also, single women's name accounts, Jan Dhan and in general. 53% it was in 2015-16. By 21, it had reached 79%, where women are owning their own accounts and deciding on their financial, whatever deposits that they have. So that's made a big difference again. You know, one thing which very surprisingly, I didn't think there will be a time in India to talk about investments made by women. You know, you would think, all right, money to spend with women, it's all right. Women to do some business, the parent or husband or somebody gives them the money. But today the investments are happening by women independently, and that data is important for us to remember and share. You have these Association of Mutual Fund India, AMFI. They've given data on the share of women in India's mutual funds under the asset under management has shot up from 15.2% in 2017 to 21% in 23. So the pace of growing particularly is happening through small towns. It's not Chennai women, it's more Tirupur women, it's more like some small town anywhere. I don't want to take a name of a small town and people say, no, we are not small town. Anyway, tier 3, tier 2. So in that is beyond the top 30 cities. It's a safer way to say. In India, the top 30 cities, if you push them aside, these women have come from further below 31, 32 and 50 and so on. So women from far-flung areas are now showing interest in putting their money, not just for saving, but for investment purposes. Axis Mutual Fund also did a study, July 24. What did they say? Increasing number of women are assuming control of their financial futures, as in their study, 72% of women investors are now making their own independent decisions about their own investments, which is a brilliant number. 72% of women making their own decisions. So the proportion of women investors using fintech channel, even better. They're not just putting their money for investment, they're going through the fintech routes. So technology savvy, investment savvy, money management savvy, and not the urban metropolitan women from everywhere. Amazing changes are happening in India. You know, in that Axis study says, women investors using fintech channels has skyrocketed, that is Axis's own words, from 14% to 55% in just 5 years. Women are just rapidly moving in that area. Okay, now investment is all right. I'm moving to the next silo so that I don't take much of your time. Entrepreneurship. All of you are here, about you. Women-owned businesses in India make up around 17 to 20% of the country's total enterprises. So 1/5 of all the enterprises in this country are run by women. So that is accounting for about 15.7 million enterprises, all purely women run. Targeted support are being given. Now, entrepreneurship among women can be from small to medium to big. Government supports the small, for which I want to take the example of PM Mudra scheme. Look at the number of women. Targeted credit support women entrepreneurs account for 68% of Mudra, 78% of stand-up, and 44% of PM Swanidhi. So these are, why am I listing only these? These are collateral free. Government gives the sovereign guarantee, you just go pick the money up and do your business. In that, 68% of all Mudra monies are going to women. 78% of stand-up is going to women, and 44% of Swanidhi is going to women. 10% of all SIDBI's loans, which is from the fund of funds, which is started for supporting startups, 10% of it is going to women. So, what does the government do at this stage, other than giving the loans? It also says public procurement, which is government's own procurement, will also have to do a certain portion only from women-produced organizations. So women entrepreneurs' produces will have to be compulsorily bought. 3% was reserved for it. Government makes rules, makes legislations, brings about a lot of changes, but to execute it, and I will speak for the government for a minute, execute is becoming difficult. We want to procure 3% from women. We've reached only 1.5 or 1.26%. Not that we don't want to, but we want more women to get on board. Come to the GEM portal, come to the various portals which the departments have opened. Showcase your product. We'll be able to procure more. 3% is reserved for you. But we don't have that quick response yet from women who can have their products also put up for public procurement, government to procure from you. All right. MSME ministry has policy to support clusters, business clusters. They are largely for small and medium industries. They are not just male dominated. There are 311 industrial training institutes purely for women, exclusively for women. And here standing and talking to you all in Chennai, there's one in Gindi, which is ITI only for women. There is one in Ambattur, ITI only for women. So 300 and plus all over the country, training women to be entrepreneurs. So the policy gives support, money, equipments, and trainers are brought in who can train them. So the government does do these sort of things just so we are able to support women who want to come out and be entrepreneurs themselves. Maternity benefit for women has also been increased under Prime Minister Modi's government. Earlier, it was only, I think, 7 weeks or something. It has now been increased to 26 weeks. Maternity, paid maternity leave. All right. 2 favorite things about which anybody from this government under Prime Minister Modi will never miss an opportunity to talk is Lakpati Didis, drone Didis. In every village now, there are women being trained to become Lakpati Didis, which means they will be women who will earn at least a lakh of a rupee every year because of the training that we provide. And also after that, we give them some assistance. What is it? They are now trained in plumbing, LED bulb making. LED bulbs are now being made in cottage industries, and mostly women are making it. And they're also being taught to use drones, maintain drones and repair and lease it out. They can go themselves serve the drone or give it to somebody to go do the work and come back. So the Lakpati Didis sometimes are also drone Didis. The government trains them to use drone. I keep saying this. It might not be such a big thing for Tamil Nadu, but I think even for Tamil Nadu in a way, and for many states, it's one thing to talk about women, empowering women and so on. But in villages, where women largely are seen in agricultural activities, doing only the very laborious, painstaking, physically hurting work, like you'll find, and I'm sorry for the men who are sitting here, stand up and spray the fertilizer will be happily done by the man. But bend and remove the weeds will be done by the women. Just swap the role and see. Will it work? It won't. In such an environment, Prime Minister Modi said, hey, let all that be what it is. I'm not going to disrupt that. But I will allow these women to take these drones and spray the fertilizer, survey the land for the crop intensity, so that you'll know what is the density of the crop and what will be the probable outcome, survey the extent of land, and all this, sari-clad, probably flowers in her hair women, holding in the village a drone's control board, and the drone goes on the field. What would it do to our Indian mindset? Please just go back and think. In a village, where otherwise she is along with another 50 women, bent completely like a U, picking the weeds. Today she says, well, we'll do that, but here, I have come here to spray the fertilizer, and what? Not the usual style, through the drone. That training is being given by our government. So women rising is not just getting women in the boards of big companies. It's not just getting women to become chartered accountants. It's also making sure your women, your cousins in the villages are also doing things very differently. So it does two things. It gives her some money to earn, but she becomes really confident, self-confident, and becomes the talking point of the village. Didi is going to come with a drone to spray the fertilizer, man. You want to know the extent of your land? Call her. And she does the repair of the drone. A drone which till now the young man in the village has not touched. So there is an attitudinal change which is being worked at. And that is where I would want to give credit to the Prime Minister. So he just doesn't give money in the hands of the woman and saying, I'm empowering you. He is simultaneously empowering the mindset of the entire village, saying we can look up to our women for many other things. And that change is what I'm very proud about. It's one thing to have people put in good posts, Oh yeah, till now no government has given women positions in defense and finance. Prime Minister has given me. Brilliant, okay. Me, just as one individual. No. Every woman in the ground today is being empowered truly through these various skills that he's trying to provide, give them the resources for it, ask them to form FPOs so that they can change the economy with their decision making. So I can just throw the number at you. 15,000 women, self-help groups have been chosen for training of these women, and also pick up some women from them to have continuous support being extended. And in this budget, comparing with 2014, when 97,000 crores were given, 97,000 plus crores were given for women, this time we provided 3.10 lakh crores for women-related schemes. Where is 97 in 10 years ago, and where is 3 lakh plus now? That is the emphasis Prime Minister has given for women. And in this particular budget, I have made announcement for working women's hostels to be provided, creche to be provided, and also promotion of market access to all those women who are doing localized businesses. The participation of women also is improving. The data which is coming out from the Labor Ministry, female labor force participation has also increased. It has now gone to 37% from the earlier 23%. So there is definitely. So the naysayers who talk about, oh, India, women are not getting an opportunity, they're not doing anything, should go through a comprehensive picture of what's happening in the last 10 years, rather than flippantly talk about nothing is happening. Startups. Sorry, have I crossed my time, Divya? Startups. The tendency, and I know when it was launched, I was in the Commerce and Industries Ministry. At that time, it looked as if women are not in startup world. Innovations is the critical word. So when startups are being formed, more men are coming forward with a lot of innovative thoughts, which could be scaled up for commercialization. So women probably are not up to it. No. I'll give you the number today. There are more than 1.4 lakh recognized startups in this country. 47% have at least one women director in them. And you've heard this, unicorns, 111 unicorns in this country, because their valuation classifies them as unicorn, as different from any startup. 18% of these 111 unicorns are created or led by women. Unicorns, not just startups. Your valuation has multiplied so much, it has touched 1 billion or more, and that is why you are called a unicorn. There are 18% of these 111 which are women-led. So I want that message that women are everywhere. In some places they may not be seen as much, but their numbers are growing. And it is people like us who have to give that extra support to make sure their stories are also publicly disclosed, spoken about, so that others can feel encouraged. Women in boardrooms. There are more things to be said about startups, but I'll leave it there. Women in boardrooms. There's a threefold increase. All India, there are 8.83 lakh women who are directors associated with active companies as of August 2024. Active companies, they are directors, and the number is 8.83 lakh. Whereas what it was in 2014 was only 2.58 lakh. So in 10 years, that's the kind of number we have grown, 3.4 times more. Tamil Nadu has a good share of the number. 68,000 women directors associated with active companies in August 2024, compared to 15,550 in 2014, 4.3 times rise, faster growing than the national average. Female directors represent 22% of the board in Nifty 50. Nifty 50 has female directors, so don't miss out. It was only 18% in 2019. Today it has gone up to 22%. STEM sciences, ISRO, women, I don't need to elaborate. They are also worthy of mentioning, but I'll leave it there so that I don't take too much time. But 81 years ago, in 1942, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, the CSIR, was formed. I'm sure you know why I'm mentioning it here now. 81 years ago it was formed, and only now, since 2022, you have a lady who's heading it as the Director General. Dr. N. Kalai Selvi heads it. 81 years, they've never had a woman. This time, from 2022, you have a lady heading it. Lastly, you have specifically mentioned power, politics. The Women Reservation Bill has been passed. That's the first thing which was done in the new parliament. I was so happy. Any random bill is okay. But to signify that in this country we have kept that as a priority, I was extremely impressed that that was picked up as the bill to be passed in the new parliament. As it is, credit be given also for the Panchayat reservation which happened in 1974, as a result of which then 33% was reserved for women to be represented at the Panchayat level, elected members of the Panchayat, the Sarpanch and so on. Normally there is no party symbol, but women are elected. 33% reservation. But today they are 46% of all those who are elected, meaning 33 is the reserved position. People have realized now that's a wonderful route. They are even contesting from unreserved seats and winning. As a result, 33% is by natural course gone up to 46. That's the principle. So once you give reservation, it is not to just handhold them forever. You've opened that door, women can find their own way. And today 33 is not stagnating, it's going closer to 50%, which is what is the population of women man. So with this, I would finally come to the last point, national security and defense related. Again, an area I'm very proud to say, when I was in Defense Ministry and Prime Minister Modi was very clear that I want women to get into defense forces as much as men. There is no way in which you can give excuses. See what you want to do. Since then, we started from the smallest level, which is entry into Sainik School, entry into the National Defense Academy, recruitment into the 3 services, not as a part-time or a short-term tenured role, full-time as much as men, and also be deployed at the front. Today, I'm happy to say, Indian Navy inclusive, which was the last of them to come in, they had their reason. I can sympathize with it. Entry of women in all branches, all cadres, all specialization is inclusive of naval activities except for submarine. Navy and all of the forces have now commenced recruitment of women in full force, all of them. Women Agniveers are also being recruited, and they're also being given a complete role as much as other Agniveers. Recruitment of officers in the Indian Air Force now is gender neutral. They don't see whether it's a man or woman, they just recruit if the person is fit and proper for their roles. And in the INA, that is Indian National Academy, women cadets are now eligible to join through 10+2 B.Tech courses. Immediately after 10+2, like the way you go into engineering, in the Indian Naval Academy, women can enter post 10+2. And in all the 33 Sainik schools, earlier it started with only some schools, now in all Sainik schools, girls can be recruited. So broadly, I've indicated what our government has done in the last 10 years to help more women to come into every angle, every aspect. Every push that is required for women is being given. But what I would think is in a newer area in which some policy announcements have been made, I would invite Vicky Flo to play a big role, and that is in artificial intelligence, where there is requirement for training women. Vicky Flo should come forward, work with institutions to train young women to be initiated into AI. I'm not saying give them all the support to become a master of AI, initiate them into it. Today, the speed with which industry is moving towards utilizing AI, you'll have workforce which is required for it, and women cannot be missing it out only because they've not been trained in it. FICCI Flow should work with companies which are moving towards AI and institutions like the IIT, which are now becoming centers of excellence for AI, to bring in new young girls to get trained in AI. And in that, I would even go one stretch further. The Northeast and the young people there are longing to do things, and they perform so well. Why would it be difficult for FICCI Flow to pick and choose 10 people from your that side flow? I'm sure you have a chapter there. Pick up those girls, bring them here, keep them here, give them that exposure, and let them find their own path. After all, if India is to develop, every part of India will have to develop, and unless we all chip in our bit, it's not going to happen. So, thank you for giving me an opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for those insightful words that have undoubtedly inspired us all. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give her a huge round of applause once again that echoes beyond these walls. And now, it's time for a moderated session that promises to be as engaging as it is enlightening. I'd now like to introduce our moderator, Mrs. Sudha Shivakumar. Mrs. Sudha Shivakumar is a distinguished lawyer and investment banker with over 32 years of experience and is the immediate past president of the FICCI Ladies Organization, FLO, having previously served as its 40th national president. Her impressive career includes leading major organizations, managing international portfolios, and spearheading non-profit ventures. She is a gold medalist with a degree in English from the University of Madras, holds a Master's of Applied Finance, and has specialized in corporate and bankruptcy laws. As the national president of FICCI Flow, she focused on empowering women and driving social change through initiatives such as collaborations with Niti Aayog and Google and advocating for the care economy. I'd now like to invite Mrs. Sudha Shivakumar